States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This meeting is being live streamed by Chelmsford Telemedia and posted to the CPS website for interested community members to access and watch. In-person public participation will be taking place tonight in accordance with the Chelmsford School Committee Public Participation Policy. Anyone speaking tonight during the public input portion of this meeting has notified the superintendent's office of the desire to speak and have been provided with these guidelines. Upon request, written comments received no later than 12 p.m. on the day of this meeting will also be read and made part of the record of the meeting during the second public comment session. So welcome to this meeting of the Chelmsford School Committee. We do not have any minutes for tonight, so we're going to move right into our Chelmsford High School representative.
All right, thank you, everybody. So, looking back on Wednesday, February 11th, students and staff packed the Performing Arts Center in order to watch CHS alum Siobhan Forian compete in the Olympic luge competition. This event also had the playing of the Olympic anthem by our band. On February 13th, the Student Council hosted the Loving Lunch, a time where students could go to the Learning Commons and listen to our a cappella groups, along with multiple bands created by members of the student body. The Wellness Fair is going to be at CHS on March the 6th. Winter Sports Awards night is going to be on March 16th. ELA MCAS is on March 24th and the 25th. And a National Honor Society induction ceremony for new members is taking place on March 12th. The Black Student Union is hosting their Black History Month Spirit Week. It was going to be last week, but because of the snow days, it's now this week. With yesterday being Blackout Monday, where students wear all black. Culture Day is today, where students wear clothes to represent their attire, to represent their culture. Tomorrow is going to be Black Diaspora, where students wear red, black, or green. And Thursday is going to be Throwback Thursday. The class of 2027 is hosting the Spring Fling Dance on March 13th from 6 to 8:30 in the gym. And class elections is coming to an end with the speeches being tomorrow and Thursday.
Great. Richie,
I didn't think he was going to come. I just said,
Oh, you did his part? Okay, well, thank you both for coming, by the way, in this weather. We didn't know if you would be able to make it out here, so appreciate your dedication to that. Which will remind me, I forgot to mention, one of our members, Maria Sanchez, is going to be joining us on Zoom tonight, so we might not see her here at the table, but she will be on Zoom and be participating in the meeting, so.
Well, good evening. Thank you.
All right, any other good news to share?
You know, it's been a whole week, so not a lot more happened. I mean, we did have a full rest of the week, and we've been in school despite any of the snow. So, no, I don't have any new updates for good news, unless people would like to share.
All right, anybody else at the table?
I have a little bit good news, I guess. This week is Community Read-In Week. It's, I think, also called Read Across America. And the Chelmsford schools have been participating in community read-in for as long as I can remember. It's where members of the community come into classrooms all across the district and read aloud to kids to kind of share their love of reading and why reading is a lifelong endeavor. And I went the other day and read to 2 classes at Center. I love getting to do that. I'm doing it again later this week at Parker. So, and I know they have a lot of people participating in that. So I don't know if any of you have had anyone come to your class yet this week. You did. I can see you nodding your head. It's a great activity. So I know I love participating, and a lot of other people do too. So that's good news.
Great, thank you. Anybody else? Okay. All right, if not, we don't have anybody for public comment, I don't believe, so we'll move right into new business.
Sure. Yeah, we have no public comment this evening. The first item for business, I'd mentioned at the last meeting, we're just going to have an open item around the Parker Middle School building project and the grade level configuration. Just want to remind the public that Thursday, March 19th, we have our next community forum to talk a little bit about the Parker Middle School project. Between March and April is when we're going to be kind of honing in on our grade level decision. We've already decided that the location will be the Parker property, but we still have the 3 different grade level options that we're kind of vetting: a grade 5-6, a grade 4-5-6, or a grade 5 to 8. We'll be talking a little bit about the pros and cons of each of those different items. And then when we come back in April, we'll be actually having the school committee vote to endorse a particular grade level configuration. The building committee, a couple of nights later, will do the same. And then at the end of April, we have our next big submission to the Mass School Building Authority, where we really, again, kind of hone in on the actual preference for us. At that point, we have a lot of meetings with the MSBA to get their approvals and gain some consensus on the project. We take the rest of the spring right through the summer and actually go into what's called schematic design and actually put designs for the program together, as well as cost estimating. And the goal is to have all of that completed by October. And then October right through the new year, next year, can't believe we're already talking a year out, but through that year is when we'll again be re-engaging with the community to talk about the different options, why we want to advance the project that we do, and ultimately be seeking community support. So this is going to be a standing item on our agenda. If anyone had public comment about the grade level configuration, they certainly can. I haven't received anything other than our discussions that we've had, but that's why that's on the agenda.
Any comments or questions on that particular item? Right, it is getting closer.
It's getting close. We're only about a month away.
Right.
So, yeah, a lot of work to be happening in March. We'd really appreciate if people in the community, if you have been following, if you haven't been following, but you want to get up to speed on the project, the website has all the different videotaped meetings we've had, so you can pretty quickly get up to speed on it. We'd love community input at that meeting on Thursday, the 19th. It's going to be at the Elks on Littleton Road. Please come. If you can't make it, it is going to be taped. It's a pretty quick watch as well, so you can very quickly get up to speed with what we've been talking about. But, yeah, it's going to move very fast.
All right.
All right, second agenda item tonight, very excited about this. This is our spotlight on Byham Elementary School. Again, continuing our trend of talking to one of the elementary schools or one of the departments during each of our meetings to hear what's been happening. And we have Principal Fredette and Assistant Principal Dolan and some staff and students. I'll let them introduce when we go, but we're happy to have you here tonight and love to hear a little bit about what's happening at Byham.
Thank you very much. We always appreciate the opportunity to come and share various things that are going on. When we think about what we're going to present, we really try to put some things in context and try to be a bit original and do things that we haven't done in the past. So we've come before you, we've heard about math most recently, certainly other things that we've done, kind of taking you through a day or other curriculum topics. And we were really excited. If you were sure, it's the 250th anniversary of the United States of America, right? Very important. I have a kinship with this too, because they call me a bicentennial baby. So do the math, I was almost 50 years ago was in 1776 to
That's the year I
1976.
graduated from high
Yes.
school.
So we've now tacked on about 50 years, and so pretty momentous occasion. And this came about a bit of a discussion with Stephanie Quinn, and she's not with us tonight, but do want to highlight her efforts with this. In elementary school, social studies sometimes is that fourth kind of content area, right? We are heavy literacy, heavy mathematics, science we do as well, but social studies really kind of out of the main content areas takes kind of that fourth spot. And she has really done an amazing job staying connected with our elementary staff, with us, and how do we really integrate and weave, while it's not a big portion of our day or our week, we find ways that make it very meaningful for students and to learn about, important social sciences and social studies. So when we look at that kind of in Massachusetts, we are looking at concepts of history, geography, civics, and economics. We do think about critical thinking that's so important, and also taking diverse perspectives and civic knowledge. And what we've looked at with this too is we're going to focus a bit on third grade, and I'm going to talk a little bit and turn it over to Mrs. Dolan. But there's a reason that third grade is such an important grade when we're looking at this, is because we focus a lot on Chelmsford in third grade as well. So we have great pride for our community, and this is a curriculum area that allows us to kind of really kids to learn about their hometown and kind of the cradle of the United States of America. We're really blessed geographically with all that we have to do. So we're hopefully going to give you a little bit of a glimpse into, third grade. We did want to also just mention, that doesn't mean we're not doing social sciences and social studies in the other grades. And Stephanie wanted me to highlight too, this is always interesting, our K through 2 students now are really getting into their units on economic concepts. So that's always interesting with kindergarten through 2nd graders. Their concept of economics is, could be limited. No such more of their coins and things like that. There's plastic and Venmos and things like that. So, barters looked a little different over the time, but they do talk about very important concepts of wants and needs and what resources are. And that starts, Susan can see, that starts at early age building those concepts with those kind of things. So they're getting into that. But we're going to highlight a bit for you 3rd grade. And I'll have Betsy kind of talk a little bit more about what that curriculum looks like in 3rd grade.
Yep, sure, thank you. Yeah, so just honing in, focusing on 3rd grade on this slide, specifically, students use the Massachusetts home to many different people, so they really start small, which I'll mention in the next slide, focusing on their community and where they belong and other people belong, but in general that we have not just many different people around the world, but also many people, both present and in past history, that we live with and learn from. And they also examine the history of Indigenous peoples, early settlers, the American Revolution, and local government. While building those inquiry skills, it's really important to also note that they're not just memorizing facts and regurgitating information. They really are going back to a lot of these concepts throughout the year and really using their inquiry skills to hone in on what it felt like, what was life like then, and really grow with some empathy about what Europeans were experiencing when they were settling, as well as people that were here, Indigenous people, and other people in that settling time. So the next slide, and it's all staying aligned within the Massachusetts history and social science framework. So grade 3 specifically, these are listed some of the essential questions. So like I mentioned before, students really first start with how they belong and where they come from in their community specifically. And it grows from there, from them investigating how did Native people live in New England before the Europeans arrived, what were the first contacts like between the Native peoples and Northeast and European explorers, what were those challenges for European settlers as well as the Native peoples here, and really putting themselves in those shoes and growing with that empathy that I mentioned before. How did those interactions work between individuals, and as well as, why is this important? What is important about Massachusetts to the history that they are studying in the nation's history? So it really is something that they're constantly going back to throughout the course of the year and examining within their context. And so I want to introduce Jessica Kowalik, who's one of our 3rd grade teachers here at Byam, who is going to share some information as well as some wonderful student presentations.
All right, so looking at this slide here, students in 3rd grade learn about the town of Chelmsford in a variety of ways. They learn about the town government, they create maps of the town like the one on this slide. They learn about the history of the town, and one of the ways that they learn about Chelmsford's past is by completing the Chelmsford scavenger hunt that has been in existence for a long time. Charlie is a 3rd grader who worked on this project earlier this year, and he made a wonderful poster about his experience. And so Charlie, can you tell us a little bit more about the Chelmsford scavenger hunt and your experience?
My name is Charlie DeVito. Me and my dad went all around Chelmsford and North Chelmsford to do the scavenger hunt, and my favorite part were there was a tree in the center of Chelmsford where the children of the school planted, and sadly it had to be cut down. My great-grandfather was a veteran, and I found his name on a stone in the Veterans Memorial Ground. Me and my dad went to Market Basket to get Chelmsford ginger ale, and we went to where they used to make Chelmsford ginger ale, and I loved it. It was a lot of fun, and I love learning about Chelmsford history.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Charlie. All right. So we are also very lucky to live near so many historical sites that date back to the early colonial times. and that are connected to the American Revolution. Every year, our students have the opportunity to visit the Garrison House and learn about what life was like in the past here in our town. Although this field trip has evolved over the years and changed some, it is something that students look forward to every year. We also want to thank Deb Taverna, who is a member of the Chelmsford Historical Society and volunteers her time to give our students tours. She's a wealth of knowledge, and her enthusiasm for the history of the Garrison House really helps to make it come alive for all of our students. In the past, we've also had the opportunity to visit the Old North Bridge and the Minuteman National Park, as well as the Boston Tea Party ships and museums in Boston. Brayden, can you tell us a little bit about the field trips you experienced in third grade?
Yeah. My name is Brayden Miles, and I am in the 4th grade. When I was a 3rd grader, we went to the Garrison House, and we saw some old tools that they use for planting and growing food. In the house, we also saw a bed, and the mattress was made from straw. I learned that they cooked all their food in the fireplace, and kids were not allowed to sit at the table. We also visited the Boston Tea Party Museum. My favorite part was getting to throw the tea into the harbor, just like the colonists did at the Boston Tea Party. We also saw a video about the start of the American Revolution. I learned that they were called Minutemen because they had to be ready to fight in a minute.
Okay. Great job. All right, so in our classroom, our students work on a variety of assignments that support the social studies curriculum, including shared readings, reading biographies, creating maps, and even completing assignments, written assignments, such as the letter to King George III as a colonist, to share their concerns about the events leading up to the start of the American Revolution. At the end of the year in 3rd grade, the students have the opportunity to research a person from that time period. They read about the person and share facts that they learned by creating a small poster, designing a wooden spoon to look like that person, and even sometimes dressing up as that person. Caroline, can you please tell us a little more about your biography project?
Hi, my name is Caroline Boshin, and I'm in 4th grade. When I was in 3rd grade, I did a biography project on Molly Pitcher. I read some books and researched facts about Molly. I wrote a report and drew a picture. I also created a wooden spoon version of Molly Pitcher. From this report, I learned that her husband got hurt from a cannon, so she took over in battle. There was not enough food for the soldiers, so she made soup out of whatever she could find. She was helpful to the soldiers by giving them water from a nearby stream with her pitcher. Originally, her name was Mary Hayes, but by giving the soldiers water from the nearby stream, she got the nickname Molly Pitcher. And this is my report that I had made from last year.
All right, great job.
Thank you very much.
And this slide shows some of the ways we connect literature to our social studies curriculum in 3rd grade. Massachusetts, Our Home is the textbook that addresses the standards taught in 3rd grade. Students have the opportunity to read biographies on important people from the American Revolution. We also share nonfiction books that discuss the events and people from colonial times, as well as historical fiction that further gives students an understanding of what it was like to live during that time period.
All right, before we go on, I'm talking about some of the historical perspective of the Garrison House. Raise your hand, audience as well. Who went to the Garrison House as a student? No? So it is a classic.
I went as a parent volunteer.
As a parent, that counts. I said student, that does count. But it was 2nd grade. It did used to be traditionally 2nd grade, but it is the gift that keeps on giving in our community, so that is great. I hope that gave you a little bit of a glimpse into social studies. It is really an exciting subject. I know personally, growing up too, it was my favorite and one of my favorite, and it did continue on as beyond a student and reading still historical fiction or other historical works, documentaries, all those things. It's something that we do learn from, and we're really thrilled that we were able to have some students share with you their perspectives of what they did, 4th and 3rd graders. I haven't gone through it and currently in it, so Charlie's going to live some of this stuff as he goes. He was about to have it, but we're certainly happy to answer any questions for you that you might have.
Great. I want to start. Maria, do you have any questions?
Let me see if I can get her up. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
You just minimize that.
Yeah.
Pull her up.
I just honestly think the Garrison House that, it's a great project and it's a great exposure for the students. Are we still doing the field trips to these areas you said in the past?
We are still doing it. Yep. Garrison House field trip is, always on the, on the docket. It certainly has evolved over time, and it was something that changed a bit over COVID. But as we talked about, Deb Taverna has been fantastic. She is really passionate and how she shares that. So that is now third graders that had to go. I do have one of my children that always reminds me that they were in that year that missed it because they were in. We're in third grade after the second graders went, so maybe you have to take a special trip there. But it's still, and then, to our field trips, our third grade group, and they've not always been the same one. They've done various different ones and always looking to, whether it's, the Old North Bridge or doing the Boston Tea Party. This year is
Old North
back to the Old North Bridge. So we're really trying to have Colonial, field trip.
That's wonderful, because I know that at one point it was very difficult to get busing and so on, so it's wonderful to hear this.
Great. Any other questions, Susan, Diana?
I don't really have a question. I just wanted to say thank you for sharing, and I was really excited to hear on this topic in particular. I do feel like we hear a lot about other subject areas at the elementary level, so it's really great to hear how the social studies is playing out for the students, and it's particularly great to hear from some students about their own experiences. So, thank you.
Susan, anything? Yeah.
No, I felt the same way. It was kind of nice to get social studies because we hear the math and the language arts so often. And I'm really glad you're still doing the scavenger hunt around Chelmsford because there's so many historical sites right here in town. Yeah.
I was gonna say the same thing. I mean, my kids did that. I think my daughter did Molly Pitcher, I think is her. So it's nice to see that those traditions keep going and thank you all very much for coming out. Thank you, parents, for bringing them out in the snow and everything else. It's great to hear from you. It's great to hear your enthusiasm for the subject, so.
How about if I get a picture and I'll send it to you?
We would love that, sure.
Great, thank you.
Smiles from all the guys, girls. Ready? All right, Diana, you're in there. Hang on. There we go.
All right.
All right.
I'll
Thank
send
you
it
very
on to
much.
the principal.
Thank you all.
Thank you very
and,
much for coming.
Drive
It was very
safely
nice.
home.
Thank you.
Yeah, drive safe.
My brother got married at the Molly Pitcher Inn
Here's the Molly Pitcher Inn.
in New Jersey.
Oh, really? I know. I think I've heard it. Yeah, when did Molly Pitcher, I forget what my other daughter did, but yeah, I remember those projects. They dress up and stuff. Yeah, it was cute.
I figured out what I had done. Remember the bar that jumped up? I hit, no, I hit the thing with extended screen instead of the regular one, so. Yeah, it didn't come up again until the bar came up.
That's fine.
That was me.
figured I just randomly, I just throw it on.
Nope, that was me. Thank you again for coming tonight.
Drive carefully.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Night.
Moving on to our second item of the evening, if that's okay. Actually, agenda item number 3. This is the annual vote that we take on the school choice program. So for those watching at home, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts has a particular statute that ties to school choice. And what school choice does is allows a district, if they would like to participate, each school committee every year has to vote to either participate or not participate. So that's the first thing. But then if you do want to participate in school choice, you're allowed to accept students from another district in Massachusetts to come and basically be treated and entitled to the education that we grant to Chelmsford students. So over the years, we have accepted some students into the school choice program. Typically, we focus our enrollment, because you're allowed to do this under the program, to particular grade levels where you might have capacity. And obviously, like at the elementary school, we really haven't participated in school choice because we don't have a lot of capacity. From time to time, mid to late middle school, sometimes we'll accept a student, but primarily we've been taking students in to the high school. So at the present time, we have 38 students that are enrolled district-wide in the program. Several of them are obviously seniors at the high school, so they'll be graduating. And then next year, we'd be left with 28 students, because you don't apply every year. Once you get in the first time, you're considered a Chelmsford student, and you stay right through graduation. So I gave you the grade level distribution next year, assuming everyone gets promoted to a grade, and you can kind of see where that distribution shakes out. And the recommendation I would have for you, and you'll kind of see this because we have 0 ninth graders next year. We have typically found at the high school level that it's best for students coming into the high school to come in as a ninth grade student and actually have the full gamut and the full high school experience, as opposed to like dropping in during different years. So we currently have kind of targeted about 40 as the number that we can comfortably take in the district and not impact class size or anything along those lines. For each district, each student that we accept into the district, the sending district, so let's say the student was from Lowell or Billerica or Dracut, and they came to us, the sending district basically sends $5,000 to our district. So we do receive some tuition for the students coming in. And the 40 students that would come in, if you approve this recommendation, would equate to $200,000 that would come to us in school choice. It's a revolving fund that's basically at the purview of the school committee, so the money would come in, it would sit in that fund. We have traditionally earmarked that to help pay for our one-on-one initiative and offset the cost of the leases. We talked about that at the budget hearing last week. So that's where the funding would go. So my recommendation, consistent with what we've done previously, would basically be able to get to the 40 students in the district that we target, to accept 12 new students to the district as incoming ninth grade students at the high school. Again, it would not throw off our class sizes or anything like that at the school, and it would provide for that consistent revenue coming in that we'll use as an offset to the technology leases. So I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. I think the program has worked well. It's provided a good opportunity for both our students to have some exposure to students coming from other districts, as well as the students from other districts having some exposure to Chelmsford. So I would recommend we continue.
Any questions? Maria, any questions?
She's shaking her head.
No,
Okay, great.
thank you.
Yep. Susan, Diana?
Quick question. Is there any one town or city where students tend to come from? Do we, more than any other?
Yeah, we do track that because obviously we know where the revenue is coming from, just geographically and because of the size. The majority of students do come from Lowell. But we have, this is off the top of my head, I know we have Lowell, we've had Tingsboro, we have had Dracut. We may have a Billerica student this year, but it's typically the Merrimack Valley. It doesn't shy too far from that, but where Lowell's right next door and it's the biggest community, the majority do come from Lowell.
Just a question, on your chart, what is SP? You have the grade levels and at one SP.
Oh, so we have one, it's a special education student.
Okay.
So that actually works a little bit different.
Okay.
So we had, so when you advertise for school choice, it's a blind lottery. So anyone can apply, whether they're a general ed student, whether they're on a 504, they're on an IEP. And you basically, if we designate 12 spots and we have 12 or less students that sign up by the deadline and register, then those automatically get in. If we ended up having 14 students that wanted to get in, but we only had 12 slots, you have to do a blind lottery. So you basically would just pick the first 12 names out of a hat. Those 12 names would be offered the slot, and then 13 and 14 would go on a waiting list. And if one of the first 12 didn't take it, then you go to your waiting list and you'd go right down the line. So there are, from time to time, you can have a student that will come in that actually has significant special needs, and you can't accommodate them in the district. So this particular child is a special education student that's in an out-of-district placement. They technically still, because they now came to us as school choice, they're still kind of considered one of our students. But on a special education student, the district that they're coming from pays 100% of the cost of the child to come to us. So not only do we receive the $5,000 that we would get for the tuition, but whatever tuition we pay, and I don't know exactly where this child is, but let's say they were a Valley Collaborative, if we're paying $50,000 in tuition, we get $50,000 from whatever the district that was sending them. It's basically a pass-through. So it's net neutral to us, cost-wise. It's just a situation where if a child does come in, and you can have special education students stay all the way until they're 22, that's likely what happened here. So I don't know exactly what grade level they'd be in, but they're beyond 12, but they're not 22 yet. And that's why they're classified as SP.
And when we do open this up, do we normally get the number we want or above it? Do we have a waiting list usually?
Yeah, I mean, historically, we've been getting at least the number that we're advertising, if not a few more. And then we have typically done the lottery, and we've accepted, say, the 12 kids in, and we've typically had a little wait list of, say, 4 or 5 students. There are students that get accepted in, and over the course of the summer might change their mind and not come, so then we would just already have the waiting list established. People do call us every week to see if they've moved on the waiting list. And we would just, right up until the start of school, accept students in. And then after the school year starts, we stop. We don't go further than that.
All right, any other questions? All right, good,
No,
Diane.
and I was going to say I can make a motion if Maria is, I don't know if she's able
I
to.
thought Susan,
You already did? All right, you got it.
Yeah. So if you wouldn't mind, Susan. Yeah.
I move that we accept 12 additional students at Chelmsford High School in grade 9 under the Commonwealth of Massachusetts School Choice Program, bringing the total school choice participation in the Chelmsford Public Schools to 40 enrolled students during the 2026-27 school year.
A second.
Second, okay, we have a motion and a second. We'll have to do a roll call. So Maria?
Aye. Thank you.
Diana?
Aye.
Susan?
Aye.
Aye. Great, 4-0.
Great, thank you very much. So again, just for the viewing audience, because people do actually watch this time of year, we get calls every day. So before Friday, the application, the announcement will be up on the district website. And there's typically about a month's time to submit your application. And right around April school break is when we actually do the lottery. We select the individuals, we notify them of the spacing. We give them 2 or 3 weeks to come in and actually register. And then we'd start going down our waiting list in May if people haven't taken us up on the spots. So for anyone watching before the end of this week, the applications will be live up on the website with all the information as far as filling out your application, what you need to provide to the district, and we'll kick off the enrollment process, or the lottery process.
All right, we don't have any field trips.
No, I had that on there because I thought one was going to come in and then it didn't come in time. So we're not going to have item for the field trips.
Okay.
That concludes new business for me tonight.
All right, so we'll move on to liaison reports. I know it's only been a week, but Maria, do you have anything? Nope.
I do not have a liaison report.
Okay, great. Diana, anything?
Last night was a meeting of the South Row PTO. And as always, they've been very busy. There was a notable fundraiser at a roller rink that I can testify occurred. But besides that, they have had a whole variety of opportunities for students. Their STEM fair, most notably, had 100 students involved and hundreds of viewers, so it was a very successful one. Coming up, they're having a variety of other events. One notable piece is that they mentioned that they are beginning the placement process very soon, which begins by asking for parent and caregiver feedback on their students as they look to the year ahead. And I know this happens at different times throughout Chelmsford, but I think South Row is really proud of having a very deliberate process that starts quite early. The other big thing coming up is the book fair on the 16th through the 20th, and there will be a family night on the 18th of March. And they also mentioned that this is just kind of relevant to something we've been hearing about in some of the presentations here. They are getting professional development coming up this month on the Think SRSD writing program to continue to ensure that the staff at the school is trained thoroughly on that. So that was interesting to hear. And finally, they were searching for a long time for some people to step forward, some person to step forward to be a new treasurer, as the longtime treasurer of the PTO is going to be moving on to a new school next year with her oldest, or her youngest, graduating from South Row, and they wound up having 2 volunteers to take on the co-treasurer role, so that they can share that important responsibility. And I just thought it might be worth naming how critical these roles, stepping forward and volunteering for PTOs in our schools, really are, and how incredibly valued these parent volunteers are.
Thank you. Susan, anything?
Not yet, and tomorrow.
Great, I don't either. I mean, the next thing would be the building committee, which is on the same night as the public forum. So we're gonna have our building committee meeting at 6, and then that'll be followed up by the public forum at 7, so. All right, anyone have any new items they would like on an upcoming agenda?
I'm not gonna say items, but I do wanna thank everybody for accommodating me tonight. Thank you, Diana, for volunteering to do the motions, and thank you, Susan, for doing them.
Okay, great. Anybody else, anything new? Just a reminder, we did move our next meeting from the 17th to the 24th. So originally we had it on the 17th, but because of the way the schedule worked, we figured the 24th would be better to break things up. And we mentioned already the public forum on the 19th. And then I did reach out to our state representatives. I did hear back from Representative Arciero, and he would be able to meet us at the State House that day. I'm just waiting to hear back from everybody else, and hopefully we can get them all in one room, and that would make, for a nice conversation. So, looking forward to hearing back from them. And then by the 31st is our AI workshop. So, busy month of March.
Busy month.
All right, any public comment? Anybody have any comments to make? Okay, all right, if we don't have any public comment, then I will take a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Okay,
I'll second.
all right, Maria,
Aye.
Susan?
Aye.
Diana?
Aye.
Aye, 4-0. All right, well, thank you, everybody.
Have a good night.